All right, we're going live. 3, 2, 1. Welcome to another episode of the Rock Fantasy Files, a new show that I've started on my YouTube channel here during the pandemic, and we also have a rockfantasy.com now. I'd like to spread the word that if you're not living in the Middletown area, you can order stuff from us, support small business. And today's special guest is an old friend of mine, and you will know him from I think they're probably the king of the hardcore bands. They're not probably the most popular hardcore band, or the most established hardcore band. I've got Matt Byrne. He is the drummer for Hatebreed, from Hatebreed.
Hey, what's up, everybody?
Good morning.
Good morning. Yeah, this is the earliest Zoom meeting you've done up to this point, so I feel honored. Also, I feel kind of guilty of dragging you out of bed this early to do this.
I'm
We're
up
about
by
to
7
talk.
o'clock. Anyhow,
Is it too early to talk a bunch of shit or what?
Nah. You know, it's good. I shut off the media for a couple days, like we were talking off camera, and it's just been this 2020 has been a 2020 to forget, but we'll always remember, unfortunately.
Oh, yeah.
We've
I'll tell you what, man, the biggest
music.
thing that's happened for me up to this point is my wife and I, we recently got married back in May.
Awesome.
So we were like, let's turn this negative into a positive. We were supposed to go down to Florida to get married. And of course, you know, when this thing hit in March, May 21st was our wedding day. Of course, this hits in March, and then there's no more flights, and the venues are closing down, and the beaches are closing down, everything. So we were like, you know what, we're not going to let this, it's messing up the rest of the world. Let's not let it mess up us. You know, of course, we're careful about everything we do, but we said, we're just going to stay local. We're going to get married, and we're going to have a good time. And we're up on the Walkway Bridge here in Poughkeepsie, which, you know, if you visit the Hudson Valley area, the Walkway's a big deal. So we were up there. There's a bunch of people up there, and we really got a lot of positive messages because we went up there to take pictures and everything, and people are like, "Oh my God, you guys just got married!" And everyone's got the masks on and stuff. We love it. We love it. This is great to see. So that was cool. But that's the big thing that's been happening with us over here.
So you're honeymooning at home right now?
Yeah, it's just
doing some hikes or something,
I guess.
Yesterday, I actually went out. There's a new reservoir trail they built around Middletown, and it was something. I got a new little dog, so I said, let's go and do this trail. It was really refreshing to get out on the trail yesterday. Really something cool to check out if you're in the Middletown, New York area. It's the reservoir trails. Look it up, and it's miles and miles of just being out in these trails, and it was very nice yesterday. Perfect.
That's awesome. You know, being up here in Poughkeepsie, you know, we got our trails and hiking and beacon and everything. And we got to venture out to you and check those trails out.
Well, Middletown's actually getting the Heritage Trail, which people are in the area are knowing from going through Goshen, Monroe into Goshen. That's connecting into Middletown this year. Before all this, you know, went on with the pandemic, they're actually working on it across the street now, the parking lot. But anyhow. We're going to talk about music today. And
let's talk about music.
So what's going on with Matt Byrne and the guys in Hatebreed? And what were you guys, I think you were working on some exciting things when this pandemic shut us all down. Maybe you want to fill us in on that.
Oh, yeah. We were lined up for a lot of good stuff for 2020 and the years, next couple years. We managed to release one single. And it was a standalone single. We've been in the studio since the end of last year, and we were cutting a new album. And we had the rollout planned, and everything was good to go. We had a bunch of tours set up in support of it. We released that one single to give everyone a little taste of what was coming. That song wasn't on the record. It was just on its own. Okay. And we were shooting to get the album out around May, end of May. And then we know what happened. And everything shut down over a period of a couple of weeks. Record labels, pressing plants, anything to do with getting a record out was at a standstill. So even now, so flash forward to now, and we're still on hold. We still have a record in the can, and there's no telling exactly when it's going to come out. It'd be great to get it out before the end of the year, but you know, every week it's like, oh, things are looking better, and then there's the doom and gloom of, oh, more positive cases have been diagnosed, so we're back to ground zero here. So yeah, as of now, Hatebreed is on hold as far as the album goes. And then, of course, live shows. We had announced a couple tours with Parkway Drive, who are from Australia, and they're huge right now. And they're awesome dudes. Known them for a long time. We're going to go out and support them in Europe and Australia.
Wow.
And that got postponed. And then, so it's good that it didn't get canceled outright. At least it's postponed. So there's some light at the end of the
maybe
tunnel.
next year or something, huh?
Yeah, right. So at the time, it got postponed till later on in the year. And then, of course, nothing has righted itself. There's still things going on. So now everything's postponed till next year. So that's our plan now. We're on hold indefinitely for the rest of the year, touring wise, as is everybody else, right? There's just no live shows.
Did you have an actual title for the record, or is that something you can't disclose yet?
Yeah, we did. Yeah, it's all set up, but it hasn't been released yet, so I can't.
So we can't say. I mean, it looks like some parts of things are starting to open up. You do see some cases rising in some states, and in New York State, we've been lucky, but of course, we've been locked in like sardines for 3 months now. And my store just opened, and hopefully, I know that I was talking with Brian Slagle from Metal Blade, and Brian said anything that was planned to come out came out, and now like he's scurrying to try to figure out how to release stuff that was supposed to be released too. So we're all in the same mess with that. So it's tougher to sell music when there's no new music coming in as being a record store owner. Of course, there was some new ones that snuck out, like the Testament and the Warbringer, the Black Dial Murder, just to look around and hear the new Vader. Yeah, that was already planned to come out. And
Testament, I think, was one of the last big ones to be able, on our label, Nuclear Blast, to be able to squeak through and get it rolling before everything.
Which one was that?
The New Testament.
Oh, New Testament, yeah.
Everything else started to get pushed back after that. And, one of the big questions I think everyone asks is, well, why don't you just release it digitally? What's the big deal? Everyone's stranded at home. They're going to be downloading it anyway. Why not just put it out digitally? But like you just pointed out in your store, our fan base is physical. They want the vinyl. Yeah. They want the CDs even, the collectors and everything. They want that tangible thing in their hands. So, as you sell a lot of vinyl at your place. So
yeah, it's picked up with the vinyl. We had a good weekend. We just opened up. We're talking here today on June 16th. We're talking on a Tuesday. And I've actually got the store back open. Yes, you are allowed to come back in at the moment, and we're praying that things stay the same. Everybody's, we're wearing masks. Everybody's wearing masks. I don't have a mask on now because the store is closed. So, and you've been in Hatebreed now for almost 20 years, right?
Yeah, just shy of 20 years. I think this is my 19th year. It was a little choppy at the beginning because I was in the band in 98 into 99 for about a year. Just shy of a year. Then I left for a while. Then I came back in 2001. So it's if you're talking totals or from 2001 on.
Yeah, okay. So you got 20 in. You're almost going to retire now.
Yeah, right.
You got your 20-year pension in the hardcore scene.
I got to look into that.
So I guess what got you into playing drums with Hatebreed, or what got you into music as a child, and were there other projects a lot of people may not know that you were doing before you got into Hatebreed? And if you want to go over a little bit of that with the audience.
Yeah. Well, I originally, when you're a teenager or whatever, you start to pick up an instrument and start to dabble a little bit. And I originally tried guitar, and I was horrible at it. And I think part of that is I wasn't really shown or brought into the right direction with it. First of all, I play lefty. I'm a righty, but I would play lefty, Jimi Hendrix style, Mm-hmm. And I took lessons from a teacher who was like a church lady, acoustic lady, who that was number one. I wanted to be loud and crazy, and I'm being shown on an acoustic guitar, not the correct vibe. And then she was like, no, you got to play righty. That's how everybody plays. And it didn't feel right to me. So guitar was out, man. I just didn't click. So my uncle is a drummer, is a drummer still. And he had a drum kit at my grandmother's house. He lived with my grandmother. He had an extra kit in the attic. And he had said, you know, well, you've been tinkering around with my drums since you were a little kid. Every time you're over here, like, why don't you try drums? Get into it. And I'll give you this drum set I got laying around, but I'm not just going to give it to you to bang on and make a bunch of noise. Like, take a lesson or two and understand what you're doing, you know? And like, because heavy metal, man, I wanted to play loud and crazy and fast, and I was big into the thrash stuff from California and Anthrax, Metallica, Megadeth, Exodus, Slayer, all the good stuff, all the classic stuff.
Cool. So thrash metal was your first influence on it?
Thrash was first, yeah. Of course, mixed in with some classic stuff like the Zeppelin and the Sabbath and you know, stuff like that. So yeah, so I started taking lessons, and I had a teacher who was willing to show that stuff as well, not just work out of a book and make it boring. So it seemed to click with me a little bit, and that was it. I was off and running. I took lessons for a bunch of years, and then of course you start playing locally with some cats in high school, or you branch out of that and start playing the clubs like some of these older clubs that are now gone, like Confetti's back in the day.
Oh wow, yeah, I remember that place.
Yeah, like, you know, stuff. You start playing local gigs like that, and the more you network, the more people you play with, the more things come, and you know, next thing you know, you're networking out with guys from other states and stuff, and trading shows and getting on different shows. And flash forward, all of a sudden, I linked up with the Hatebreed guys, and they needed a drummer. I needed a band, and there we go. And then there was a little blip in there where I was with Hatebreed and then wasn't with Hatebreed, and then I was in All Out War for a couple years with. You know, they're the kings of across the river there, Orange County, Newburgh, right?
Yeah, good friends of ours, of course. Eric Krill, my score, and the crew.
Yeah, still talk to those dudes, and they're still doing it too. They're still doing their thing, which is great
stuff. They've been popping out lately. Yeah, it's great stuff.
Yeah, good stuff. And I think they're one of the bands. I mean, they're the band from my time in this music scene around here and locally and otherwise, like especially from around here. They're the biggest band that has accomplished the most, I think, from that specific music scene.
In this area, yeah. I mean, we've got some notables that have left this area, you know, in that hardcore scene, of course, because we have Chris Caffrey in Goshen, New York, who went on to Sabotage and, you know, TSO, which is selling out arenas with the Christmas metal rock show. But yeah, All Out War, you know, is going all around the world, playing,
a lot of European stuff
everywhere. You know, another band from Middletown was Morpheus Descends in the death metal vein that also is still together actually, and I think they were working on putting something out after. I haven't talked to any of the guys in Morpheus in a while, but I know they've been doing some touring.
And then there was a couple guys from Morpheus. They started another band too, right? That was kind of similar. It was almost a little more bolt thrower vibe.
I believe so. Jogging my memory today. I've got pandemic memory right now. I think it's part Alzheimer's. I mean, I'm getting
out of the house.
I've been locked in the house, and like you were talking before, you almost become numb and like in a fog between everything that's going on in the world right now. Between the famine, not the famine. Well, there was some famine going on. You've got the virus. You've got the civil uprising, the social unrest, and of course, everyone at Rock Fantasy stands against any kind of racial injustice, and so does our staff. But I'm sure Hatebreed's on board with that too.
And, absolutely.
Just let's hope for better times coming up. You know,
that's all you can do at this point. I mean, we were talking before, like at this point, you're just waiting for an asteroid to hit the planet or something.
Yeah,
I mean, what else?
Hornets, mutant ticks. If you go on Facebook, used to be a fun thing for me, and I still use it to advertise, and I still go on and try to find fun stuff. But I took it off my phone the other day, and I felt slightly better mentally because there's nothing but conflict. It's like a Hatebreed song. Or an All Out War song right now, you know. I think everybody needs a mosh pit right now, like a hardcore pit to let off some angst. Yes,
I'll tell you what. This type of social and political climate breeds some really good music, especially punk rock and hardcore.
I remember that back, even in the '80s when I first opened. How much even the metal scene, it was like a lot of angry stuff. And I mean, we were talking about new releases that weren't coming out. There is one big one that's coming out this week is Lamb of God.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah, they
still
got
coming.
pushed back a little bit, but they're finally able to put it out.
I think it's coming this week.
Title.
I'm actually going to do the order. So I guess my next question for you would be, what's some of your favorite Hatebreed songs to perform? And what do you gets the crowd like, or something that you'll say like, oh, we're doing that, or something like that. What gets the crowd going, and what do you really like playing? You got a couple favorites?
Yeah, of course. Well, I like them all. I mean, I think naturally after you have a bunch of records out and you tour a lot, the newer stuff starts to become the favorite stuff because it's fresh and you haven't played the songs. It's just new from start to finish. So you're seeing the fans latch on to the music and start to learn the lyrics and really start to just become it,
Yeah.
So that's always great to see. And of course there's the old favorites like I Will Be Heard and Destroy Everything. I guess those have become our most popular songs. Looking Down the Barrel of Today, that's a newer song.
I was trying to brush up a little bit with you. I was watching some YouTube stuff last night, and that I watched some videos, and that was really good.
Oh man, yeah, some of those the live videos, especially from the festivals in Europe where you have like 50,000 people in one spot, and they all latch onto the song at the same time while you're playing it, and it creates the coolest vibe.
Sure.
But yeah, like Looking Down the Barrel is actually our most streamed song as far as our career goes, and that's a newer tune that came out in 2016.
Yeah, so it is, and I thought it was kind of perfect for today's climate in a little bit. Like everything's so right now, looking down the barrel of today, which is something
really
you got to do every day when you wake up right now.
That's what you're doing.
Put the news on when you get in the morning, or just live in that bubble.
That's true. It's true. But yeah, I mean, we never go off a set list. We know we'll discuss what we're going to start with, and we always discuss what we're going to end with.
Okay.
Which is usually the staple. So it leaves a lot of room in the entire set to really gauge the crowd and feed off.
That's interesting,
What stuff they're reacting.
Usually, I mean, you see like a band going on a national tour, and they're pretty much spot on. You look on Setlist FM, it's like, okay, when the last song is, if you want to hit the gates, get out. So you're going to throw it up, and you change up the set on live shows.
Yeah, for the most part. Yeah, we don't.
You guys are like.
It's better that way. I think it creates a better energy. I mean, hey, every band does their own thing, but for us, I think it's an easier way to gauge the crowd. Every city's different. Every show is going to be different.
So if you catch Hatebreed in like Starland Ballroom, you'd get a different set than you would at, let's say, Clifton Park, probably.
Absolutely.
So if you do experience the tour a couple times, as big fans do, you get a better experience. You're almost like the Grateful Dead of hardcore. That means.
I'll take that.
The Dead's always like, well, this set they're doing this, or the Allman Brothers, the jam bands used to do that a lot.
Yeah. I guess we're them minus
classic rock. I'm old, so I grew up with all that stuff and still enjoy that too.
Yeah, we could say that. I mean, minus all the acid and everything, I guess.
Somebody's got to say the Grateful Dead. Grateful Dead Hatebreed covers.
How about this guy, huh? Woo!
Darth Vader, we could be sighting a Death Star. I think the shadow came over part of Middletown. It was reported on the major news media today. Just to keep you inside. Maybe stormtroopers would be a good thing right now. Who knows? Imperial Guard. But I guess any memorable tours or shows or favorite bands that you love to tour with?
Absolutely. Well, I'll tell you one of the recent ones we did last year. I think it was it was 2019. These guys right here.
Obituary, yeah.
Obituary is one of my all-time favorites, and they were awesome to tour with. We ended up doing a couple legs with them because they're just such great dudes, and they put on an awesome show. And part of touring, you're on the road with these guys. Like, you want to have fun with dudes that you're with every day, night, day in and day out. And those are the dudes. Like, you don't want to be out with a boring band or bands with their noses stuck up in the air or whatever. Like, these guys ain't it. And they're old school. They're great. So this was definitely a memorable tour in the U.S. Going back, like, we had the opportunity to tour with Slayer in the early 2000s. They're my favorite band. They're a lot of people's favorite band. Of course. It's more memorable now that they're not around anymore. They're officially retired. So I have that special spot where I'm like, I toured with my favorite band multiple times and got to sit behind Dave Lombardo every night and got to hang out and drink with the dudes and just hang and talk life and party and whatever. So yeah,
A
that's memorable.
customer came in the store yesterday and they were buying a couple Slayer shirts, and she said to me, and I don't know if I initiated or she said, like, oh, look what happens when Slayer retires.
Yeah, the world ends.
It's like the end of the world now. Slayer calls it quits and off we are into deadly viruses and whatever else is going.
Yeah, immediately the world is off its axis, and
I got to catch Obituary last year. I didn't catch them with you guys. It's been a few years since I've caught a Hatebreed show for some reason.
Oh man, well, hopefully next year we'll get you out.
Well,
We played the Chance. We're good to play the Chance once a year. Starland.
Yeah, usually,
Code's place in New Haven.
Probably the last time I saw you was at the Chance. I know I've caught. You were on a couple Ozfests, right?
Yeah, we did 5 or 6 of them. I think only us, Ozzy, and Black Label Society. We've all done. Yeah. We haven't. The only one who's done more than us, I guess, is Black Label and Ozzy. That's what I'm getting at, because we've done
I've definitely caught you quite a few times on Hatebreed in general back in the day. I can remember Jamie calling the store back in the day, setting up shows, because I had a kid that worked here named John Vista from the hardcore band Inner Dam, and they used to always talk on the phone. Like sometimes, hey, it's John in, and hey, it was this, Jamie. You know, way back when the beginning of days of Hatebreed.
Vista Fanzine.
Yeah. I haven't seen him in a long time, but you know, doesn't work anymore. We were tight for a long time at one time. Yeah.
Well, like a lot of things now, Facebook keeps people connected, and we would catch up. Every year or two, we'll drop each other a line and say hi. He's still out and about. I know that.
Yeah, somewhere. He had quite the hardcore section here back in the day, for sure. You know, and what are your interests other than music? Do you have any, do you collect stuff, or do you like to? I don't know.
Yeah, I got a 1980 Camaro, and cool. It's all custom. It's not a numbers matching original car at all. It's got a different motor, a different dashboard. I mean, cool. It's a different color. It wasn't automatic. I did a lot of research on the car too, see where it came from, right out of the factory. It used to be an automatic with a 305. At some point, somebody punched up through the floor, turned it into a 4-speed. It's loud, it's sloppy, it's crazy. I love it. So I like to tinker with that. I'm in no way a professional mechanic at all. I guess I feel my way through things and just keep it rocking, but I do basic maintenance and whatever, but I'm not trying to take it to the track either and blow it up. You know, it's just a cruise around car, and
just a cool old muscle car to drive around in.
That's it. Yeah. So I mess with that.
A 340 Plymouth Duster when I was a young kid in the 70s. I had 2 of them. I wrecked them both racing and being stupid.
Oh, you think
I was
back
driving through Milford,
that
Pennsylvania the other day. I drove out to Sussex County just to clear my head. I went up to Stokes State Forest on Sunday, doing a little nature stuff the last couple of days, little hikes and stuff. And I was driving by Milford Chrysler, and they had a lime green 340 Duster sitting out in front. And I think it was their mascot car. I had a sticker in the window, but it wasn't. I don't think it was for sale. Not that I need to buy one right now.
Yeah, well, you could take that stimulus check and put it towards it.
Oh, that whole $1,200. Maybe we'll get another one. I think we could all use another one. It would probably help business.
Yeah, I hear they're trying to get another one out there.
I sold 10 of our pinballs from the store to keep the store floating for the 3 months. The store needs to have so much money coming in a day for it to float, like any other thing, and it wasn't floating with being shut down. I did get some unemployment in the end, which has ended now since we've reopened, but that was a little bit of a blessing. But I sold 10 games. I rented out a few. Everybody has to do what you got to do. Yeah. So I probably would buy a couple pinballs back if we knew everything was going to be smooth sailing through. And
you're still active with pinball right now. If people want to come down to the store and play, they can.
Yeah, you can play. I mean, as long as we got a social distance, like anything else in the store. If you're buying records, if you want to play pinball, we have the girls here that are working most of the time because I'm still staying home a lot because my wife has got many immune things and I'm no spring chicken either. So when I'm here, I'm in an N95 mask when I'm
Yeah.
open, and it's not the most comfortable thing to be in for 6, 7 hours. So got my staff working, and I'm a phone call or email away, and I've been in quite a bit lately. But yeah, the pinballs, we don't have them all on, but we have them separated. So you're kind of safe out on that island and right now. And what the hell? Some people were so happy just to be able to come back in the store, right now.
Just to go somewhere and be able to hang out. That's not in their living room.
I just want to give people some joy in life, to come in and just to look through a record bin
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
get back to normal.
Some kind of normal, yes.
Yeah.
The new normal.
Yeah.
There'll be plenty of good hardcore songs written for about these times, I think.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. I mean, this type of climate breeds a lot of angst. If you want to call it angst.
I'm not going to get into politics today, but usually when the Republicans in office, there was a lot of metal uprising. At least back in the 80s, like when Reagan and stuff, there was a lot of hardcore and metal stuff, angst. I hear the Lamb of God's going to be pretty into that scene right now. All War we've been talking about. All War's been writing songs about this for years already.
Oh yeah, come on!
There's a gas Creator's soundtrack. It was almost disturbing. I got the new double live Creator album, the London Apocalyptica, and then I'm like Apocalypticon rather, and I'm just like, yep, Hordes of Terror, Hordes of Chaos.
Actually, it's funny. We were on tour with them in Europe when they recorded that. That was the last show of the tour.
Everyone against everyone.
It was us. It was us, Creator, and Dimmu Borgir.
That's
in Europe, which was an awesome tour. That was pretty sick.
You guys have played with just about everybody then in the metal. Who have you not toured with who you would like to have toured with? Is there anyone out there? I mean, you've been doing this for a while.
Metallica
doesn't bring bands out no more. They bring comedians, unfortunately.
Yeah, right. Yeah. I don't know, and even if they do bring bands out, I mean, they brought Lamb of God out, but that was years ago.
Yeah, you never got to play like their festival they did for a couple of years, the Orion Festival?
Orion, no. We've happened to play a couple European festivals with them.
Oh, so
4 years ago, I think we did one of them in Munich, I think. But to do it like a legit tour.
Yeah.
Like not even a world tour, just a U.S. tour or something, just to say we toured with Metallica, because we've played in some capacity with almost every other band in my life that I would want to play with. They're the big ones. That's the big fish right there.
They are the biggest fish in the metal pond right now.
That's it.
They always
so to say that we toured with Metallica.
What's that?
To say that we toured with Metallica would be like the last.
Well, you got Slayer done.
Slayer's a big one.
I like this. I'd rather go hang out and see you guys with Slayer than Metallica anyhow. But
one of the best shows with Slayer was when we played Roseland down in the city, which is now gone, as we know.
Holy shit! That must have been a train. That must have been a crazy like Donnybrook.
It was insane, man.
Sold out. I might have been to that show.
It was, I believe it was Arch Enemy, us, and Slayer, 2003, and it was sold out, and it was insane.
I think I was there.
Oh my God!
I'm pretty sure I was there for that.
I know Carilla.
I remember seeing Slayer at Roseland around that time. Yeah, I must have been there that night. I used to go to Roseland all the time. I used to hang out in that side bar in the back.
Yeah,
like was off the side
the one
of the
in the back, next to the stage, in the back there. Yeah.
Yeah,
that was man. That was tough to see that place go, because that was a staple in New York City. Probably the biggest venue at the time that would have metal shows like that, and that's probably the last time
that someone they closed the PlayStation Theater, and I was at the last metal gig there, which was Sabaton last fall. And now I saw somewhere in a news clip that someone else is opening that, and it's a new name, but it's going to be still a music venue, the PlayStation Theater.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, that's right in Times Square. That's great to know, because I remember hearing that was closing down, and that's where anybody who was playing in the city was playing. And that's
You
the,
played there, right?
I'm like, well, if they close down, where the hell else is anyone going to play? Because Terminal 5, I believe, is still going, but that holds like 3,500 people or something. It's huge.
Hammerstein.
It's still open?
Hammerstein Ballroom. I saw that's still doing metal shows. Of course, now we're getting a whole new landscape of clubs. Who knows what stays and what comes back if we can't do anything until next year.
Yeah, it's unfortunate.
I saw the Amon Amarth at the Gates Arch Enemy there last fall at Hammerstein.
Oh, nice.
Hammerstein doesn't do much metal though. Like, my usual spots in New York City were Gramercy.
They're still, they were still open. Let's
They
hope
were
they
still
survive.
open. I mean, that's a Live Nation one, and so is Irving Plaza, which was being renovated.
They changed the name to the Fillmore too, right?
And for a while, they pretended it was like the Fillmore East, but everybody knew that wasn't really the real location for the Fillmore
Right.
East.
Well, hey,
Anyhow,
Behemoth.
I
I
don't know.
mean, you got bands like Behemoth. They were playing PlayStation. I mean, that was extreme.
Oh yeah,
Man.
I saw that last year. You were there for that, right?
No, I didn't go down. I was supposed to go down with Score. I forget what happened. I didn't end up going. It was them and Carcass.
It was Behemoth, Wolves in the Throne Room, and somebody else.
Maybe?
At the Gates.
At the Gates.
Yeah.
At the Gates.
That was a heavy show.
You want to see places like that will still host extreme stuff like that, not go away.
Yeah, definitely.
To be able to do that.
And then, Webster Hall just reopened too. That was shut down for a while. And they were starting to do metal shows again. I know Epica played there, Machine Head played there before everything shut down.
Yeah, and I think they even hosted the Black and Blue Bowl there a couple years, which is a big hardcore festival,
Yeah.
That they do every May.
I didn't make it back there since the renovation. They said that I heard the Marlin Room was gone, which was like mid-sized venue, like on the second floor. And then they had that little venue down in the basement. I don't know if it's all there again, but.
We'll have to wait and see after this.
Anything else you'd like to add today before we wrap up the Rock Fantasy Files?
Well, locally, talking about clubs, we hope that the Chance Theater here will be able to. They're still posting shows that they had booked for later on in the year, so hopefully they're still in place and they'll be able to have them. Because like any other venues, 1,000-seaters and below, we just don't know who's going to be able to survive and who's not. A lot of these clubs, we had a 2-week tour booked in May. It was just going to be pre-album release. The Chance, Paramount out in Long Island.
Yeah, that's a nice place.
A bunch of places on the East Coast. And I look back at that schedule that we had, and I'm like, 90% of these places are going to be closed for good.
Were you playing like Upstate Music Hall in Clifton Park?
No, not on that run. Usually if you're playing the Chance, you won't play Upstate. They're just an hour away from each other.
Those are too close. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
I know
oh man, I gotta pull out the list. I can't recall now.
Yeah, my heart definitely goes out to Frank Pallett, that runs the Chance, and he's kept it afloat. No matter what you say about the Chance, whether it's got a dirty bathroom, but the place has been, it's a legendary theater, and we've seen so many great shows, and it's like one of the few places left, even for the local bands to play out, because this Hudson Valley area is really dried up on live venues, especially for the metal end of it.
Yeah, really absolutely. The Chance is like the only spot.
I mean, I was running little shows at the bowling alley in town here, and we don't even know the status of Quinn's Pins because they've been shut down. They don't plan on trying to reopen till September. One note on the Chance, I spoke with a customer who was in the shop yesterday. They say that they are still planning on having a show July 17th, and they should be in phase 4 and be allowed to be open. And it was, I forget the bands, I think Sludge Wolf was on, which is a local, death metal band. Those 14-year-old kids, really young kids, and maybe Sick Bay. I'm not sure. You'd have to check their schedule. So maybe there is some hope. Let's just hope that people can, respect this. I think wearing a mask does help. You get, people that say it doesn't, but I mean, if it didn't help, why would everyone in the hospital wear it?
Just take the precaution and wear the
Yeah.
mask. It's really not that big of a deal. If that's
It's
all
not,
you
you
have to
know,
do,
yeah, it sucks in the summertime to wear a mask, but would you rather be stuck at home? Wear a mask,
right?
you can go to the record store, maybe you can go to a bar again, or you can go to wherever, you know?
Yeah, if that's all you have to do, one of the things to take, if that's all they request, hey, you got to have a mask on, you keep the social distancing. But if that's
Yeah,
all you have to do, I don't see the problem with it. I don't see the complaining. Just do it. It gets you out of the house.
exactly. That's the PSA message from Matt Byrne of Hatebreed. Wear your goddamn mask.
Wear the goddamn mask.
Go buy
Shut
some
up.
records. Maybe yeah, maybe you'll have to drive down to Middletown with that souped up car one day.
I was just thinking that. As soon as we were talking about it, I was like, I'm going to come play some pinball. I'll take the Camaro. We can go out for a rip around Middletown.
Score
Get out
will
on
come down.
211.
Score will come down and see you.
We'll
Mike
make a
was
plan.
here about a week ago, I think, and bought some records.
Oh, nice.
Now
Cool.
he's on IR again. He's got those damn kidney stones again, Mike. That's unfortunate. I hope he's feeling better now.
I got to drop him a line. We're
Have you
good
talked to
for
him,
going. We're good for hiking. We were talking about hiking in the area, and we're good to always meet up and hit the gunks up in New Paltz there.
Oh, cool.
That's great hiking.
Cool. All righty. So, what else? Now, if anybody's looking to find Hatebreed, maybe you want to give people the info. So then, for your YouTube, for your website, everything else, people want to buy some Hatebreed merchandise to help the band out during these times.
Yeah. So currently, our merch store is martyrstore.net. So that's where we're putting up a lot of our merch that we've been. A lot of throwback designs and stuff like that through all this pandemic stuff. We're bringing it back. A lot of throwbacks from the 90s, late 90s, early 2000s, as well as we're good to do, last bunch of years, we do event shirts for a lot of our shows. And, they're very specific to the city that we're playing in.
Sure.
Specific artwork and stuff like that. So, if we played a show in LA and you're living in, we usually limit the designs to 50 shirts. Once they're gone,
Sure.
they're gone. That's it. So we brought back some of those designs and put them up on our web store because, if you're in LA, but you like the Chicago shirt and you weren't able
Sure.
to get it, of course. So, now you are. So martyrstore.net and, all social media. Instagram is Hatebreed Official, Facebook, Hatebreed, hatebreed.com.
Cool.
Not much of a tour schedule up there now, but keep checking back and hopefully, definitely for next year, we'll get things popping again.
Let's hope, that we can get through this without suffering through the Armageddon first.
Something's got to give, man.
So if you like this show, hit like in the comment, comment on the episode. If you got any questions for Matt or anything, maybe write something in the comments, and please subscribe to the Rock Fantasy channel. You can also reach us at www.rockfantasy.com. We have launched an online store. If you're not comfortable coming out yet, if you're staying inside, that's all good. We can send something to your house. We still do curbside pickup. If you're not comfortable coming in the store, call us up. If you need a record or you need a pipe or something, we can have someone bring it out to the car. There's actually curbside parking in downtown Middletown now. And you can also reach us at our Instagram for Rock Fantasy Concert Shop, or our Facebook for Rock Fantasy. And it's been a pleasure to have you on today, Matt. And
this was great.
I've been listening to more hardcore the last couple of weeks. I think it just fits the times a little bit. Gets that blood that gets a little aggression out.
Absolutely.
Not that the death metal doesn't too. But
you need some kind of release at this point.
Little release. We don't have the gym anymore to go pump some weights either.
You don't even have the gym, right?
No gym. That's why I feel bad about Frank, because Frank, who runs the Chance, and we were talking about in Poughkeepsie, his other business is a gym. So Frank is getting a double bang right now.
Horrible.
And hopefully New York stays on thing, because phase 4 would I know, like, people in Middletown, I'm still rambling on, there's a fairgrounds, and they've opened up the stock car racing again on Saturday nights, which I've been passionate about for years, since I've been a kid. And this week they're allowing, there's no limits on the drive-in section. So it's like a drive-in movie. Even if you want to come down, if you got nothing to do on a Saturday night, it's a night out. You get your cooler packed up and you bring there's a snack bar there so you can get burgers or whatever. salt and
Oh, that's
peppers or
great.
whatever. And you come down and it's $20 a person. Kids under 12 are free. And I believe seniors are like $14, but you can get the information on orangecountyfairspeedway.net. But it's something else to do. And I have a lot of friends there also. So there's certain things open up, like the drive-in movies. Maybe Hatebreed could do a drive-in concert.
I'm all about it.
You got to mosh pit your cars. Like it'd be a demolition derby while you guys are playing.
Yep.
That
Headlights
would be
only.
perfect.
That's the lighting.
Hatebreed plays a drive-in concert with a demolition derby in front. So didn't someone try doing that upstate a couple of years ago? It was like a festival.
Oh, I don't know.
I kind of remember it was like Rock and Derby or something, and there was a demolition derby, and they had pro wrestling and some bands. I think Lamb of God played there.
Oh, it's a great idea.
Well,
It sounds like
wrap
something...
up this episode. Thanks again for Matt for coming on, and
absolutely.
Hopefully you guys can come in and say hello, and hopefully we get on peace, love, and happiness and Hatebreed. Right?
I like the sound of that.
All right,
We'll
bro.
see you soon.
Thanks for watching, everyone.
All right.